Today's Steelers Talk video is presented by iHerb. Go to iHerb.com and use promo code CHAT for 22% off your first order. Big thanks for iHerb for sponsoring today's video. Can't wait to tell you about their awesome service here in just a second. Welcome in to Steelers Talk, Yinzers. My name is Jack Sperry, and we have a loaded show of Steelers news and rumors to cover today. First up, we're going to be talking about DeAndre Hopkins, released by the Arizona Cardinals today. Should the Steelers go pursue him? I will let you know here in just a second. And then also there's a trade rumor going around that the Steelers could be interested in giving a late-round pick to the Cardinals for Isaiah Simmons, former first-round pick. And then also a lot of Steelers players at OTAs this week were praising Matt Canada's new offensive philosophy this week. Going to break down what they said later in the show, so make sure you stick around for that. But before we get into today's action, go ahead and click that subscribe button if you want to help us beat the rest of the AFC North teams here at Chat Sports in total subscribers gained this week. The Browns report has us beat by just 11 new subscribers. We're kind of putting the Bengals and Ravens in the dust right now, but we got to beat the Browns report here at Steelers Talk. We do not lose these sub battles, guys, so make sure click that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, do all the bells and whistles there if you want premium Steelers content for free here on YouTube every single day. So now let's talk about DeAndre Hopkins, former All-Pro receiver, five-time All-Pro receiver in the NFL, has been released by the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals announced it on their Twitter earlier today. Then they simply said, "We have released DeAndre Hopkins." Nice, simple, and sweet there. So now the big question moving forward here is, should the Steelers go out and pursue DeAndre Hopkins in NFL free agency now that he is on the open market? The Steelers do have quite a bit of cap space to work with. Over the cap right now, overthecap.com has the Steelers at $11.26 million in current cap space, but it's going to be a little bit lower than that, just as a disclaimer, because they did sign Marcus Golden earlier this week, and we don't know the official contract details on his contract, so it's a little bit lower than this figure, just so you guys know. But the Steelers do have some room here to work with if they want to go get a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, somebody that's been a number one receiver in this league for a long time. Last season, did a really good job of getting open and, making the most of the situation. He had like Trace McSorley throwing him the football for most of the year, Colt McCoy, those guys. That's why the numbers are a bit lower. Plus, he was serving that suspension in the earlier part of the season. But he ended up with 64 catches for over 700 yards and 3 touchdowns. But, a five-time All-Pro guy. He's in his 30s now, and wide receivers, it's like how many more years does DeAndre Hopkins have left in the tank? I still think he has a little bit more left to go, because I think he's more of a hands receiver, a body control type of receiver. I still think he could be a number one receiver in the National Football League, but I don't think the Steelers are going to be pursuing him, because I think they like the guys that are in their current wide receiver room, and they don't want to mess with that right now. I think they really like Diontae Johnon. George Pickens is somebody that Steelers fans are really hoping can transition to that number one role this year and really become a true weapon for Kenny Pickett. They added Allen Robinson via trade. They definitely like him as well. And then you still got Calvin Austin III and Anthony Miller, and maybe even Hakeem Butler if he impresses in camp. I think that this is a good set of wide receivers right now. Sure, if you add DeAndre Hopkins, it gets that much better, but I think the Steelers are cool with what they have right now, and they might be looking towards other positions to fill their final 2 roster spots. So should the Pittsburgh Steelers sign DeAndre Hopkins? You be the GM here. Let me know in the comment section by typing S if you would sign him, or if you're going to pass on him, type P. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So whenever YouTube throws an ad break your way, take advantage of that time by answering today's question with an S or a P. So now I want to talk a little bit about a trade rumor that's been going around lately, is that the Steelers might be going after a former top 10 pick in the NFL draft, inside linebacker Isaiah Simmons. Now, Isaiah Simmons is somebody that has done a really good job over the course of his career at getting better. He was really raw coming out of Clemson because he was really a jack of all trades with the Tigers, and he never really found a home in college, and therefore it was really tough to figure out where he was going to fit in the NFL. It took him a couple years. I thought he did pretty decent last year at almost 100 tackles last season. 4 sacks, had a couple interceptions, which I really like as well. So we'll get into his stuff in here just a second. But here's Joe Tainsey from Bleacher Report, who says that the Steelers should go get him. Isaiah Simmons has not lived up to his 2020 draft position. The number 8 overall pick in that year's draft has 7.5 sacks in 3 seasons and 1 campaign with 70 solo tackles. Simmons needs a big season to increase his free agent value, but he may go unrecognized on an Arizona Cardinals team expected to contend for the league's worst record. Potential Simmons deal would be a low-risk, high-reward move for the Steelers. If he does not star in 2023, they could let him walk and only burn a day 3 draft pick in the process. So I think the Steelers are interested in adding potentially another inside linebacker if they feel like it's a good fit. They brought in Kwon Alexander for a visit last week. Didn't sign him. I guess it wasn't a great fit. Maybe the medicals didn't check out, whatever the case may be. But man, Isaiah Simmons is somebody that the Steelers might really want to add to this roster because it's a little thin in the inside linebacker room right now. You got Cole Holcomb and Landon Roberts as your presumptive starters. You got Mark Robinson in there. Hopefully he is a nice breakout candidate for you this year, but it's still the depth here is still pretty light, especially going into camp. So it definitely wouldn't surprise me if the Steelers end up trying to trade for Isaiah Simmons. I'm going to be letting you guys know what I would do here in terms of an Isaiah Simmons trade here. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor at iHerb. Steelers fans, are you ready to discover a world of wellness? Well, look no further than the brand new sponsor here on Steelers Talk, iHerb. Go to iHerb.com, use promo code CHAT for 22% off your first order. At iHerb, find carefully curated products from vitamins to sports nutrition and natural beauty essentials. iHerb guarantees quality and transparency as they test every single product, ensuring the highest possible standard. Shopping on the iHerb website is a breeze as their user-friendly website lets you easily navigate their extensive catalog of health and wellness products from only the highest quality brands. And the best part? iHerb ships globally, reaching over 185 countries, so you can access their range of products and enjoy doorstep delivery from just about anywhere on the planet. Join thousands of satisfied customers who trust iHerb for optimal health and start your wellness journey at iHerb.com. New customers enjoy a special discount of 22% off your entire order. Use promo code CHAT at checkout. That's iHerb.com. Promo code CHAT. Experience iHerb's difference for a happier, healthier you. And iHerb, big thanks to iHerb for sending me a couple of products. I got some krill oil here, which really helps me with my recovery after I lift. I know I'm a skinny guy, but I do actually work out, believe it or not. And then also for after my workout, I've got some Optimum Nutrition Gold Standard Whey Protein. I like strawberry personally. And then I also like to use my iHerb branded shaker bottle for after my workout with that awesome protein shake. So go to iHerb.com, and use promo code CHAT to get 22% off your first order today. So personally, I would go out and get a trade done for Isaiah Simmons. I think that this would be a nice little move for Omar Khan to kind of put a bow on top of his very impressive offseason to this point. I think that this would be a really smart trade for Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin because, like I've said before, the depth chart is a little bit light right now. You could definitely use another guy like Isaiah Simmons in the lineup, at least in my opinion. I think he's a good player. And then the real kicker here is that you're not going to have to give up that much. I think with a 6th or maybe even a 7th round pick, you could potentially get this deal done. The Arizona Cardinals are looking to revamp their defense. They're looking to revamp their entire roster, and they're really looking to attain draft picks, okay? And with the Steelers trying to win right now, getting a guy like Isaiah Simmons could definitely be a good thing for them. I definitely think it's Omar Khan's type of trade, okay? So the best case scenario here is that Simmons reaches his massive potential, okay? Coming out, he was a top 10 pick for a reason. He can play that hybrid safety almost kind of role. He can play edge rusher. You know, he's a good blitzer. He can do a lot of things. He's a jack of all trades, and at his size and at his athleticism, the amount of potential that this guy still has at such a young age is incredible. And for a 7th round pick, that risk might just be worth it. And then when it comes to the worst case scenario here, he stinks, he doesn't play, and all you lose is like a 6th or maybe a 7th round draft pick. So for me, it's a very low risk, high reward type of trade that Omar Khan loves to do. We've seen it with the Allen Robinson trade this year. We saw it with the Chase Claypool trade last year. He likes to make these trades where, you know, the only thing that can happen is that the Steelers win the trade. And I think that's exactly what he likes to do. And this definitely fits that description. And the thing about Simmons, too, is that throughout his career, he's only gotten better season after season. Isaiah Simmons Starting off his rookie season, he was terrible. He barely saw the field. But after last season, I'm a little bit more confident that he can be an NFL player for a long time. 99 tackles in 17 games played last year, 4 sacks and 2 interceptions with 5 tackles for loss. He really came into his own a little bit. Maybe not the best inside linebacker in the league last year, but he definitely showed his prowess in pass protection. He showed that he has that kind of versatility that Mike Tomlin really likes to see in his players, particularly in the middle of his defense. We see it with guys like Minkah Fitzpatrick. He's going to be using Patrick Peterson in more of like a safety-ish nickel type of role this year, which should be really, really fun. And Isaiah Simmons, if you bring him in, you can also have him in kind of a hybrid role where you can disguise coverages. This guy could do a lot of different things for the Pittsburgh Steelers defensively. And if it only costs a 7th-round pick, I think that's absolutely worth the risk, at least in my opinion. I really do think that this is something that is worth doing if I am the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I really do think that this is something that the Steelers could do, and it's something that Omar Khan would likely do. So I'd say keep your eye on a potential trade like this. Let me know in the comments section right now, would you take this trade? Give me an A if you would accept it, or a D if you would decline it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section here, because I think this is a very interesting topic that I think could actually happen in reality. So now let's shift now to OTAs, which of course the first kind of week of OTAs is wrapped up here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And a lot of Steelers players on the offensive side of the ball have been really praising Matt Canada's philosophy and approach on the offensive side of the ball compared to what it was last year. I think that I'm getting really excited about this offense this year, just hearing these guys talk about what Matt Canada is doing on that side of the ball this year. Let's start with QB1. Kenny Pickett here, who says, I went back and watched our last year's first OTAs. It's a different team, honestly. I just, not just players wise, but in terms of plays and how much we have in already. It's a credit to the coaching staff. Being here and working hard on, and guys showing up when they didn't have to be, going out there and doing what they have to do, putting 6 installs in, 5 installs, whatever we're at right now. We were only at 1 or 2 this time last year. And then George Pickens chimed in here and said, from a game plan standpoint from last year, it's totally changed. First down is more critical this year. It sets up go balls and post routes. That's one of the things we've been talking about in meetings too. The first initial down is probably the most important down. And then Mason Cole, the center, had this to say. It's not necessarily 50-yard bombs every time. It's schematically, how can we get Pickens and Johnson with room to run? And he continues to say here, how can we be efficient on first downs so we can take shots on second and third downs? Now, I really think that this offense is starting to get going here, which, last year it was very vanilla. It was very predictable. That didn't have hot routes or audibles for Kenny to use at his disposal. But seems like that's changing now, and they're starting to give Pickett the keys and really allowing him to take ownership of the offense this year, which is very promising. It seems like the Steelers are really making an emphasis on getting the ball to Johnson and Pickens in space so that they can operate. Last year, the yak yards and all that stuff was just not there for the Steelers offensively. It was a lot of stop routes. It was a lot of non-moving parts on offense. And it's just not modern NFL offense. It's just not. And I think that Matt Canada needed to come into this season and really revamp his offense. And it certainly seems, at least to this point, that he has adopted some of those modern principles to his new scheme on offense. I'm really excited for the Steelers offense, this year. But let me know how you guys are feeling in the comments section. How confident are you in the Pittsburgh Steelers offense heading into the 2023 season? Give me a scale of 1 to 10 here. How confident are you? 1 being the least confident that you can possibly be, 10 being the most confident. I want to know how you guys are feeling about the Steelers offense heading into next year. That's going to be it for today's show, guys. I really appreciate all the real ones that showed up to the end of the video. Make sure to comment real one down there in the comments section if you are a real one, made it to the end of the video. And then also go follow me on Twitter at Jack_Sperry for additional Steelers content, but also to get a shout out on next week's Steelers Talk Live show.